Okay, so this is a very quick feedback video on your Unit 4 mock. Mostly positives to take from this, but a couple of important things to emphasize here. So again, your evidence J, as I said, was a bit longer than the average one, but really you got to read through that as quickly as you can, pick out the important bits, and you should know your case study inside out, so you shouldn't really need to read the evidence A to I on the day. So let's talk about some of the questions. Questions 1 and 2, your definition questions, they get rewarded if you know your key terms. Thus, the importance of making your glossary is vital. And that's what you're going to do during the rest of today's lesson, make an up-to-date and full glossary. Overall, the use of key terms throughout your paper, particularly in section B, could have been a lot better. Okay, you got to show off your knowledge. That's what Unit 4 is all about, bringing it all together. And using the terminology. So define example. Again, you should be maximizing those marks. Question 3, question 4, 4-mark AO3s, again, DSLE. Again, he didn't structure some of the questions very well. Question 3, you should have clear key term in the question. Again, your real exam will be a fully professional exam in that aspect. To reassure yourself, look at mark schemes, look at exam reports over the past years. There's always a very clear key term in question 3, very clear key term in question 4. Question 5, analyze 2 reasons. Again, question 5 is the one you need to read twice in regards to the command word. Is it an AO3 skill or an AO4? Past few years it's been AO3, but we don't know what's going to happen on the day. So analyze, explain, AO3, 8 mark, SLEE, explain times 2, and SLEE, explain times 2 for 2 points, 2 reasons as it says there. And then if it's an AO4, obviously you're going to evaluate 2 versus 2 with a mini conclusion. And then your 6-mark AO4 question assess the view how excess duties paid by tobacco countries and cigarettes benefit the UK economy. Again, lots of people got kind of fooled by this technical term. Excess duties are sin taxes, duties on things like tobacco and alcohol and gambling and petrol. Any demerit good the government want to discourage is an excess duty. Okay, so aka tobacco duty or tobacco excess. Some people got fooled by that. So for your 10 marker, again, it's 2 versus 2. Explain a little bit further with a conclusion. But you got to focus on the question asked. The question says, assess the view that high excess duties paid by the tobacco companies and cigarettes benefit the UK economy. That's the focus there. Okay, you got to bring all your points back to that in regards to their explanation. Again, some people seem to digress a little away from that. So be aware of that, please. And again, a little brief conclusion at the end. So that's section A. 30 marks, 35 minutes. To be honest, it's tricky to get done in allocated time. You have to race through section A as quickly as you can. But you got to be strict with yourself. I was quite pleased that some people did this. They realized that their time was up and they moved on to section B. And they still did all right. Okay. Again, in an ideal world, you don't want to miss like question 6 to 10 marker. But there's a much worse case scenario if you don't have a good stab at your question 7B. So again, be strict on that on the day. And once those 35 minutes are up, boom, you're on to section B. Section B, question 7A, as I said, was a tricky little question. Quite a niche question. Normally 7A, 7B, quite a broad question, so you can bring in quite a variety of points. But this one focusing on poverty. Assess the view that raising tax on tobacco, cigarettes increases poverty. Again, you need for your introduction outline the concept in regards to taxation and poverty. Tax is there to redistribute wealth. 2 types of poverty, absolute and relative. Something like brief just to outline. I wouldn't say a definition, it's more so an introduction. Again, remember, you got to remember section B is a report style. So you're going to outline it there as a concept. Then do your index. In my essay, I will talk about it. Pick out your 3 points. Okay. Inequality, regressive tax or demerit good could be 3 core points. Some other points you could have had. You could use tax revenue to reduce poverty, turn to cheaper alternatives such as e-cigarettes. Those could be issues that evolve. Raising tax on tobacco, cigarettes increases poverty. Again, your focus there, poverty, bringing all your points back to that. as you see, is highlighted. Economic theory to craft your answer, use your terminology. Okay, so overall, it was answered quite well, I'd say. 7B was a bit better. I think we discussed that kind of question before. So that was a tricky little question, really. And then your 7B, I think, is a very, very likely question. Please be sure to plan out a nice model answer for this and kind of learn it off as a model. But remember, you're not going to go away and practice writing timed questions on this and learning them off by heart like you might be able to do for some of your other subjects. You got to answer the question asked on the day. Although it might be about UK government intervening in the e-cigarette market, we don't know what angle they might put on it. Okay, I have a feeling that this might be your question 7A. And again, they could put a bit of a spin on it in regards to what extent should the UK government intervene in the taxation of e-cigarettes, and then that would be focusing purely on the tax there. Okay, so again, it's good to have a fair idea on this, all the different methods of intervention that the government have in the e-cigarette market. But I'm never going to encourage you to go away and write out full essays and learn them off by heart. Okay, again, that's just going to encourage you to do the wrong thing. You've got to answer the question on the day. So again, introduction, concept, questions all about government intervention. So what does that mean? Okay, that means the government stepping into the market to try to correct market failure. Index, in my essay, I will evaluate your point 1, 2, 3, and 4, or mine's would have been market failure, taxation, health, and prescriptions. There's other ways the government can intervene as well. In regards to passive smoking in public places, in regards to safety elements of your cigarettes. Again, some people took health and took safety as two separate points, which is fine. So your first point, my first point would have been about market failure, talking about asymmetric information, that the businesses know a lot more than the consumers, and that needs to be corrected from government intervention and closer regulation. However, on the other hand, possibly it's the lesser of two evils, and if the government do intervene, it will discourage people from taking it up and taking a stepping stone away from smoking, and it's an effective way to give up this demerit good. So again, using your terminology. Then next paragraph, my next point would have been in regards to taxation, the government should intervene, put on tobacco duty on e-cigarettes to bring it up to 77% taxation, as opposed to just VAT of 20%. As they risk lots of people migrating from regular cigarettes to e-cigarettes and therefore losing out on tobacco duty, which brings in £12 billion. Again, there's an opportunity cost of that. That money can be used on merit goods terminology, as you can see there. However, on the other hand, it would be a regressive tax. It would punish the poor more than the rich, and therefore that would cause an issue in regards to inequality and poverty in society, again, terminology. Then my next point, new paragraph, would have been in regards to health, that they need to intervene as it is a stepping stone towards smoking. It's the normalization of smoking. If you look at the different flavors, and it's introducing people to nicotine from a young age. Again, it's kind of forcing the habits. They look like real cigarettes, and you see people walking around in public kind of making those points, and how that's going to lead to issues with the NHS bill. Again, strengthening in the economics theory. However, on the other hand, you could argue it's a stepping stone away. It's the most effective method to give up smoking. One of your pieces of evidence is talked about it being 60% more effective than your gums and your patches, and therefore the government should not try to dampen this market and make it more difficult for people to attain this product. And then your last point could be the government should intervene in regards to prescriptions. That would give them full control of the market in regards to the health and the safety and every aspect of it, and would eradicate any question marks that might be on the product. However, on the other hand, this will cost a lot of money. I think it's something like 49 million. We discussed and we wrote down our case study from our extra research at one point. Again, it's good to show that you've done that extra research. You could also refer to your different pieces of evidences if you want as well. Some people asked, do I need to name drop evidence D, evidence E, as he's kind of done there? as you see in his kind of model answers, which again I feel aren't really the best. But the answer to that is, if you can, great. Certainly desirable, but not essential. Again, it depends if you think you have the time to refer to different pieces of evidences. Your examiner will know your case study inside out. He'll know that the facts you're using are from the case study and therefore accurate, or if you've done it from extra research. Again, it doesn't really matter in that regards. And then lastly, your conclusion paragraph. It needs to be a clear conclusion. So you need to say, in the short term, the government need to intervene to get some control in this market, which is rapidly growing. 2 million e-cigarette smokers, fastest growing market in the UK. However, in the long term, the government might need to reconsider their stance. The 10-year study is due to expire next year, and Public Health England are saying that actually this is 95% safer. If that is verified, then the government need to be brave and say, right, we're now going to take away the extra taxation, we're going to reduce and deregulate. Therefore, my recommendation is that there should always be government intervention in this market, but to what extent depends on the health consequences of the product. So again, short versus long term, and then a clear recommendation at the end. Some of you guys, after reading your conclusion, I wasn't quite sure what your stance was. Okay, so again, you need to have an A2 level conclusion. So that's it. Rest of the lesson, what I want you guys to do is to again fix up your mock. Any question you underperformed in, plan it out. Look at the mark scheme, reflect, act your peers. I'm going to give you one-to-one feedback, and then what I want you guys to do is make a glossary for Unit 4B. Okay, and also I want you to explore your CD, which will help you get your head around the market in total. So make sure you explore that good resource. If you manage to forget your CD, it is on the Dropbox and a folder called CD for the Careless. There you are. Thank you very much. Whoops.